time and those experiences. And what I learned about myself was, what type of leader are you? Because, guys, I believe first and foremost, that picture sums it all up. Leaders are the ones who sprint forward and have everyone follow them. And you sprint out into the unknown. You sprint out when maybe it's a little bit dangerous. You're the guy that walks out there first. During my time in Carolina, I came to really appreciate some of the quarterbacks. And people, kind of laugh and say, Coach Rhule never found the quarterback. But those guys were men. Because after every game, it was me that walked out and saw the media, and it was that quarterback that walked out and saw the media. Like, we had to lead. We had to do things that maybe we didn't want to do. We had to be the guys that were in front. But at the end of the day, what I've learned is if I want to be a leader, man, I've got to be out front. Number two, this comes from the word standard. And if I could say that if there's one thing I have to do in the first year as the head coach in Nebraska, it's I have to set a standard. And the word standard actually, you look at the etymology of it, it actually comes, sometimes I'll talk about it coming from like stand hard, putting a flag in the ground and saying, we will not retreat beyond this flag. Because, guys, the standard is the minimum. Our guys are out there running gassers today, and if you're an O-lineman, like, you better run that thing over and back in 19 seconds. It's the minimum. And my job is to set the standards for the way that we do things. Our standard of performance, our standard of professionalism, our standard of preparation, our standard of practice. And that's a lonely job. Just like running out into the dark night's a lonely job, that's a lonely job because I have to give everyone, and you have to give everyone what they need to be successful, but then you got to hold them accountable to it. I have to be the guy every day that says, no, that's not good enough. No, that's not good enough. But when the team starts to turn, when the team starts to develop that champion's mindset, what they do is they become the leaders, and they take your standard, and they say, that Coach, that ain't good enough. This is our standard right here. I have to be the first, but guys, we'll win at Nebraska once they decide what the true standard is of a champion. Number three, ownership. Ownership. My short time in Nebraska, if there's one word, and if you ever have a chance for your team, there's a great TED Talk by Jocko Willink where he talks about extreme ownership. I show it pretty much every year, like this ship is my ship. Nebraska is my ship. That DB room, that's Coop's ship. He's got to own it. There's nothing worse than coaches who don't own it. There's nothing worse than coaches who say, man, I told him 100 times. There's nothing worse than coaches who say, man, he just can't. Own it. Own it. Own it. Like one of the proudest days of my life was walking up in the team room and talking to the guys at Carolina after I had been let go. And owning the fact that I was leaving, I was proud of them, and I was grateful. Like not sneaking off into the night, not being a sheep, but standing there like a lion and talking to them and going down with the ship. I want a D-line coach who owns the pass rush lanes. I want an O-line coach who owns their body weights, who owns their academics. I want guys to own it, and if they're